I see so many people fail, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault. You have to give up. You have to be like, all right, enough is enough, because it's no way of life. It's not, I am just as happy today without drugs and alcohol than I was with drugs and alcohol. When you get that high point for the couple hours out of 24, I'm much happier, even because that's a fake high. Yep. It's all fake. It's all fake, and it wants you dead.
Where you are now may not be where you came from. The choices you make today may spiral out of control or spin you in the right direction. Discover a riveting, true story of how Carlos Vieira nearly destroyed his life and lived to tell about it. Stand up, stand firm, believe, make it happen, and live through the madness. Knocking doors down along the way. And don't miss others telling their powerful stories on our podcast. Visit kddmediacompany.com.
Welcoming to Knocking Doors Down, Austin Reed. How are you, good sir?
Hey there. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming in.
I know. We're becoming fast friends here. This is twice in the matter of a week.
And I realized I just said thanks for hanging out. Like you guys are on my show.
We have to be here, Austin.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. The reverse.
Thank you for hanging out.
You're welcome. Of course, host of Central Valley Talk. You also got the Reed Report and lots of great stuff that's coming up. We'll get into a little bit later on, because I really want to hear how you got into broadcasting, a fellow broadcasting background. But we're here to kind of shed some light on your addiction issues, as well as some mental health and physical health issues that kind of segued into you and your addiction. But you were saying before we got recording, family background of addiction?
Oh, yeah, definitely. On my father's side, 100%.
It's always the father's side. It's my father's side, too.
Right?
It's just always how it goes,
What the heck? I know. My mom's side, my uncle's like a pastor.
Yeah. Get your shit together, Dad.
Yeah, right. So, but on my father's side, with the addictions come mental illness. My grandma suffered from schizophrenia. Oh, wow. I have many family members that have bipolar. So, and I'm dual diagnosed as well. I feel like that's kind of the big story now. It's like everybody is dual diagnosed. It's not just one or the other. I think they go hand in hand.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't. Sure, if I spend a little more time in the psychologist's office, I might figure out what the heck else is going on there. But you were talking a little attention deficit disorder, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
So I kind of have started to notice some of those patterns, and I don't want to self-diagnose, but I can relate to it. What point did you kind of start to recognize it? Was it as a child or?
As a child, for sure. Yeah, especially going through school, it was very, very tough for me. So doing a paper or doing a project, I mean, even just sitting in class for longer than 15 minutes, I was thinking about something else. But the interesting thing is, I got into broadcasting, and I became obsessed with broadcasting when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old. Sure. And so if it had to do with broadcasting, I was 100% in. But anything else, it was very hard for me to just sit down. But even as an adult now, it's hard for me to do just one thing. It's hard for me to get through an hour without doing 10 different things.
I can relate. And sometimes our life doesn't give us any choice. It's like, shit, I got to do this right now too. I was in the zone, man.
Exactly.
But what you said that makes sense is going back to the dual diagnosis, because before we were talking, I had talked to you about my anxiety, and when I tell my doctors that, they go back and say, well, have you ever thought about hurting yourself? I'm like, no, I'm not depressed. Like, it's not. They assume that it's both. You know what I mean? And they want to throw both in.
Yeah.
And it's not always the case. Because, some people are, but some people are not. So let's just focus on this one. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. That's right. One day at a time, one step at a time.
So what then, it kind of makes me wonder, family life, if it was on both sides? Was it something that there was active substance abuse growing up, or?
No, not, so at least on my dad's side, there was no substance abuse when I was growing up, especially on not on my mom's side. However, I'm thinking that, and I haven't really talked to my dad much about this specifically, but when I was growing up, he was a semi-truck driver.
Yeah.
So I think on the road, he was probably doing some meth. Maybe not, not around me. My mom, definitely not. She has no addiction whatsoever. She does suffer from depression, though, my mom specifically. And then her dad committed suicide when my mom was like 6, 7 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Some trauma lineage there. That's fine. My dad, truck driver too. So
Oh, okay, cool.
You nailed it when you said that. I'm like, that's exactly what the fuck it was.
Yes, yes. Meth and truck drivers.
Yeah. Unfortunately, hopefully.
Not all of them.
Not all. No. But hopefully, and especially, I think we're roughly about the same age, and it was more prolific back then.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't think many of the semi-truck companies did drug tests.
I was going to
back
say,
then.
my uncle's a truck driver. I wonder if he dabbled in
I know.
Now I'm trying to think back on family reunions. Was he
Was he all?
Was he all?
Was he acting weird? No, I think he's good. You're good, Unc.
So were you kind of? I know for me, I always felt like an outcast. Did you feel that way too? Because I'm dyslexic, so when you're talking about the ADHD, same thing. Concentration issues. Some stuff just doesn't compute in the brain, and I just never felt like I fit.
Here's what made me weird. When when other 13-year-olds were like 100% into sports or girls, I was doing fake newscasts in my basement for hours on end. I had a lot of friends, but I was a weird kid. I was definitely a weird kid. I'm a weird adult as well. So, it continues on. But, I did like sports and I played sports, but for me, it was just television and radio. I've always just loved it, and it's not a love, it's a passion. It's like if I wasn't working in broadcasting, I would not be happy in life. Right. It keeps my happiness alive for sure. So.
Yeah.
But I was definitely friends with a lot of the odd kids, a lot of the weirdos, because I consider myself a weirdo. So I wasn't like I was student body president in my senior year of high school, but I wasn't even at school much because at that time I had already been hired full time as a reporter with the local Fox station in Portland. Yeah, so I was like in school maybe 1 or 2 hours a day.
That's how old were you?
I was 17.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
But we were talking. You had mentioned about 17 was the first use of alcohol. Was it connected with the job, or was it just kind of you felt like, here I am, look at me, I'm working, and
I felt older.
Yeah,
I felt older. So when my peers were drinking around me, I thought, well, I can drink as well, But it wasn't, it wasn't to a point where I was drinking every day, like later in my life.
Right.
It was just parties on the weekends. But my first introduction to hard drug use would have been when I was 19. My brother, he introduced me to ecstasy.
Oh, shit.
It started that one time. I loved it. So then it continued on every weekend.
Everything just feels so good.
It does. I know. So, and then, but again, it wasn't to a... I knew I was addicted to it, though. I knew I was addicted to it, but I was able to hold it. I was able to hold it to weekends only and kind of get through life. And then when I was maybe 21 or 22, It just kind of, I just stopped doing it. I was able to just, this is annoying, because I don't know, it's like every weekend, and the come down after ecstasy is terrible.
That's what we understand.
Talk about, depression.
Yeah,
right.
Holy crap, that sucks. So I was able to just stop it.
Do you ever feel like your anxiety or depression was brought on by your substance abuse in the past?
Oh, absolutely.
Same.
Oh
yeah.
my God, yeah.
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 I when I was doing coke a lot, I thought there was one time where I thought I had just done too much, and I was like, shit, this is it. This is it. My heart's gonna pop. I felt like I was having a heart attack, and 20 minutes go by, I'm still alive. So I'm like, okay, it's not a heart attack. So maybe, and I'm pretty sure that was my very first panic attack. Still to this day, I'll randomly get panic attacks. So I feel like mine was brought on by that as well.
Right.
That's
yeah.
why I ask.
Yeah.
Like, are you in the same boat?
Yeah.
It seems like it.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a trauma moment, to go through that feeling of, like you said, the using a substance with the result, the reoccurring depression post usage. I've never done it, myself, but from everyone I know, and you're fucking up the chemistry of your body and brain.
Exactly.
Let alone those of us, with attention issues or learning disabilities or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So we stepped away from the ecstasy. We're still drinking. But when did you find out cystic fibrosis? When was that?
So I was 3 years old when I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. So I was in the hospital a lot as a kid. Back in the day, before amazing treatments like they have now, one specific drug called Trikafta, which changes your cystic fibrosis chemistry and makes things like, for a while, every year I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks at a time, maybe 3 to 4 times a year, up until I was about 27, 28 years old. So I'd get pneumonia, I'd get Pseudomonas, I have Pseudomonas right now. That's taken care of with
What is
medication.
Pseudomonas?
It's a lung, it's a lung disease. It's like a lung infection that stays with me for life. So, but I didn't get that till I was later in life. But now there's this medication called Trikafta. It's $30,000 a month, and thankfully my insurance covers it. Yeah, and I take two pills in the morning, 1 pill at night, and I haven't been in the hospital for my cystic fibrosis in years since I started it. So, which was I guess about a year and a half ago. But yeah, total miracle medication. I was diagnosed when I was 3 years old. So when I was born. And when I was diagnosed at 3, the doctors told my parents, I was born in Asheville, North Carolina, so I lived there till I was about 8. But the doctors at the time told my mom and dad that I would have maybe to about 18 or 19 years to live.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of knew that growing up, right? And I definitely credit that with depression, because when you think you're going to be dead by 19 years old, you're going to not be very, very happy, or I think my case, you're going to be like, well, might as well try some ecstasy. I'm going to die in a year.
I have to ask, with the lung thing, what were your thoughts when this whole COVID thing struck? Like, was that I was paranoid at first. Yeah, I was very, very freaked out. But then I stayed careful, and wore my mask, and I stayed at home a lot, at the beginning. And then I was doing research, and for some reason, COVID has not hit CF patients hard. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of our chemistry with the virus, and it just doesn't hold on to people with CF. But I think there's only been a couple people with cystic fibrosis that died due to COVID.
Sure. And those complications us related to.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's maybe you have the superpower.
I maybe. I know.
Got the mutation.
Right.
So wow, crazy. 17 years old, working in it was television news, correct?
Yep.
Where did we go from there? I mean, was there Was it, hey, I'm going to try to get to bigger networks
Yeah.
and keep moving up? And...
Let's see, when I was about 9 years old, I just want to reverse real quick.
Yeah,
when I
please.
was 9 years old, I had a news studio in my parents' basement.
That's awesome.
And so the ABC station came out, did a story about me, about how, this 9-year-old kid is pretending to be the next Peter Jennings while also living with cystic fibrosis, and he's turned his parents' basement into a pseudo newsroom. And then after that, my dad gave a good idea to look into public access and start my own show. So I did that, and I did that for I did that when I was maybe 12 or 13. And I did my own shows. It was called Rose City News and Teen Edition, and we did weekly or bi-weekly shows up until I was 17. That's when I got hired by the Fox station. So let's see, when I was and then I was also doing radio as well. I was at Movin' 107.5. I did nights.
Moving? What
Yeah.
was it like smooth jazz?
No, it was like R&B and 90s pop. So,
Okay.
great jingle. Moving 107.5 Portland.
They all have that.
Still remember it.
They all have that cadence, right?
Yes, it's the same thing everywhere.
Yeah, because we were talking and you were familiar with one of the stations. I used to run the
Yep.
K97.5.
And they still have that jingle.
In the valley.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I know.
They'll
gonna
never
give
get
you
rid
guys
of that
a moment.
jingle.
I remember when we were writing it out.
Right.
You know, well, we better say in the valley.
Right.
Put in the valley in there. You have to have that shit.
Like people don't know that
Right.
you're in
Yeah.
the valley. That's awesome.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
too cool.
5150 is power. The power to overcome. The power to persevere. The power to set your life on a course for success. When you're faced with the challenges life throws at you, you focus and do what is needed to go beyond what is required. So stand up, stand firm, believe, make it happen, and live through the madness, knocking doors down along the way. We are 5150.
And then when I was 20, I decided I wanted to move to New York City. I moved to New York City, did some acting for a little while, thinking that I didn't want to do broadcasting, that I wanted to move towards movies. And I acted for like a year. I was in a sitcom with Joan Rivers.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, there, darling, huh?
Yeah, right. She was nice. And then I realized, crap, I missed news. I missed TV. And I got a job as a reporter in New Mexico for the NBC station there. So
Nice.
New Mexico.
yeah, I loved it.
Did you?
Oh yeah. New Mexico's awesome. It's beautiful.
Most of us just know New Mexico from Breaking Bad. So we have
Yeah.
a perception of it's like, oh,
That's
this
right.
shit box?
Yeah, right.
No. But you, how long?
And Roswell,
And
where
Roswell,
the aliens are. Yeah.
So how long were you there?
Let's see. I was there for a couple years, and then I moved to. So my mom had a heart attack, and I grew up in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
Born in North Carolina, but raised in Portland. And my mom had a heart attack, so I wanted to get closer to her. So at the time, I had an agent at that time, and he got me a morning anchor job in Medford, Oregon, for the NBC station there. So I moved. So at least I was a little bit closer to my mom. But Medford, that's where the addiction just.
Interesting.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have a coworker that lives up in that area. Same kind of a
Southern
similar
Oregon.
situation.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
So what
Wonder
then?
if he went to my doctor. My old doctor.
So what brought it on then at that point?
So, I was getting these really bad headaches, and in Medford there was no cystic fibrosis clinic, and so I just had to go to just a random doctor that knew nothing about cystic fibrosis. So I remember I went to him and I said, "Hey, I'm getting these really terrible headaches," and he said, "Okay, well, he knew nothing about cystic fibrosis." And he just guessed, and he said, "Well, here, I'll just give you Vicodin. Try that." And at that point, I didn't even really know much about pain meds. Sure. I didn't know, but it was at the height of the pain med epidemic. Because that would have been, over 10 years ago. So I remember I was on it I remember the first day I took a Vicodin. I loved it. It was similar to ecstasy for me. I know it's not like that for a lot of people, but for me, for some reason, it felt as good. So about a month goes by, and, at first I was just taking one every 4 hours, but then, 2-3 weeks later, I'm taking two. I'm taking 3 every 4 hours, So I called him up, and at that point, I was still honest, and I said, hey, I'm having to take like 3 of these every 4 hours now. What's going on? He's like, oh, okay. Well, let me write you morphine, and let me write you liquid oxycodone. Oh, and then let's write some Soma, and let me give you this. Let me give you some diazepam. It was
a pain med cocktail.
Pain med cocktail. And that destroyed me.
Well, yeah, that would destroy anybody.
Yeah. So, I was able to slowly but surely fake it for a while, but I know a lot of stations, because I've worked at a lot of stations across the country, and I know a lot of stations at this point are like, he was fucked up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
We can only hide it for so
Right,
long.
exactly.
Then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is evident.
So
Now, are you using alcohol concurrently with this, or is this kind of a...
No, at that point it was just the pain meds. It was just, and it was terrible. I couldn't go an hour without it.
Right.
And I was just, I just met my wife, and she was trying to figure out what to do with me, and I look back now that I'm sober, and I'm like, fuck, where would I have been? Would I have been working for, CNN when I was 23, or, I did okay, but I know I could have done way better.
Right.
But,
Right.
Yeah.
So I went on Suboxone, and which is like, it's supposed to help you get off the pain meds.
Right.
But they kept me on that. Usually you're only supposed to be on it for maybe a year at the most. I was on that for like 7 years.
Holy shit.
And the Suboxone wasn't good for me either, because it was basically, it's trading one narcotic for another.
Right.
So I was super tired all the time. I was unreliable. I'd always call out. I wasn't very happy, but every time I tried to go off the Suboxone, I couldn't, because I was so addicted to it. So it's like, getting off Suboxone after 7 years is like getting off heroin.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so I finally was able to do that. And then I laugh, but I got off the Suboxone, and then I got addicted to Adderall, and to again, because I have the ADHD,
Sure, yeah,
and Vyvanse, and then it moved to alcohol, and that was my late 20s. So.
Now, when you were coming off of, obviously, opioids, it's, we've had discussions, people very aware of the side effects of that and the withdrawals. So were you able to kind of avoid the withdrawals, or did you white knuckle it through any of the withdrawals from the medications?
Yeah, I had to white knuckle it to get off Suboxone. The Adderall wasn't too bad. It was maybe a couple weeks. I had to just like, okay, not doing it, not gonna do it, and then the alcohol, that got so that, here's the thing with me and alcohol, I can always get it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
It's everywhere.
Yeah, Suboxone's a little hard to get. Pain meds kind of hard to get. Like, and they've really cut down on that now.
Sure.
The doctors are like, do you really need pain meds, or so but alcohol, you can get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Pot, and I liked pot as well. So
Sure.
but pot now, like the last time I would have smoked pot was maybe 8 months ago, and it just makes me super paranoid, so I'm like, so I can't do that.
Yeah.
But don't know where I was going with this.
Just makes me feel like a fucking idiot. Just a waste. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just sit there like an idiot.
Yeah.
I just want to eat a whole lasagna and go to sleep.
Well,
but
I
it's
just get
like,
my
pointless.
anxiety. Oh man,
I can imagine.
who's watching me. You know.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Is what I said just stupid? They haven't really responded that quick. Like, did I say something dumb?
I'm like hiding. Under the
yeah.
Austin,
freaked
no
out.
one is talking to
Right.
you.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So that one was easy to kind of stop. But alcohol. Alcohol was like that. The ex-girlfriend that still wanted you.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
like it's always there. You can always go back to her. You know?
I don't think I've heard it quite put so well. I couldn't relate to that. I'm going to steal that. So
Right,
if
thank
you
you.
hear it again in this podcast,
It's from Austin Reed.
yeah, thank you for that.
You heard it here first.
So was it-
Austin Reed.
So is this just a segue kind of from one substance to another
Yeah.
to the,
Yep.
then it was like, there it is. I mean, we had, I think, Ric Flair, when we had talked to him, the Nature Boy, woo!
Uh-huh.
That was good.
Oh, is he the one? Is he on PBS?
No, the professional wrestler,
Oh,
Ric Flair.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Limousine rat and jet
Oh,
black.
okay,
Kiss
okay.
Dylan, Wheeling Dylan. Because he had talked about that, seeing his son Reed die of, I think it was cocaine that he overdosed on, if I remember correctly.
I think so, yeah.
But, he's like, that's the thing, the difference between alcohol and drugs. You don't need a prescription for this thing. It's readily available.
Yep.
In some places, you don't even need a valid ID. They'll just sell you that shit.
Yeah.
And so here you are, one substance to another. What was it? Was it dealing with the pain of cystic fibrosis? Was it anxiety? Was it what?
It was. You know what? It was. So I would say, the alcohol at the very end. The alcohol was so. What absolutely destroyed me, because I could get some clean time and sober time, but this time, let's see, back in October, November, my coworker, his name is Bronson Peshlikai, I actually hired him to co-host a morning show with me on KKDJ in Fresno. And him and I had known each other for 13 years. We had worked together in New Mexico. And when I was there, so he had seen that I came back to Fresno, and I'm doing the morning show at KKDJ now, and said, "Hey, do you have any openings?" I said, "Yes, I need a co-host." He came out here from New Mexico. Great guy. We were best friends. We were like brothers from another mother. Probably like you guys are. Just you click. And I had no idea that he drank a lot. I just didn't know that. So me and him were drinking a lot. And he one day, and I had some clean time at that point. And one day he's like, "Hey, do you want to have a drink?" I'm like, "No, I don't drink." Then the next day, "Hey, you want to drink?" "Oh yeah, sure. What the hell?" And then of course, we were drinking all the time. Well, one day we were drinking, and he died. He died, and I think we don't know exactly what happened, but we think it was an alcoholic seizure, and it was completely tragic, just horrible. I mean, it was just me and him. It was me and him together, alone, and he just passes out. I can't resuscitate him, and he dies. So now you would think after that, I would be like, I'm not drinking again, but that's not how this disease works. Alcoholism and drug addiction is a disease that wants you dead. It doesn't care. It is devilish. It is evil. I'm sorry. It just is, So because I've had 2 DUIs, I've, been in jail. And so anyways, when that happened, I was drinking the most I've ever drank in my life. Morning, midday, afternoon, evening, overnight. I did this for 17 days. And on December 17th, I had broken my nose because I was so drunk. My kids came home, and they were like, "What? I'm all bleeding. I don't even know what time it is." And that's when I realized, holy shit. I have a problem. I have a severe, I need help, So so I checked myself into a 30-day rehab down in LA, and then I went to an outpatient program, and I left the job. I left KKDJ, and now, God willing, I'll have 6 months sober on July 1st. I go to AA every day. Awesome. I have a sponsor. Shout out to Dean Opperman. He was a longtime KKDJ personality, and he's in the program. He's in AA, and he's my sponsor.
That's awesome.
So, so things you can change, and through all of this, I suffer from depression and anxiety and ADHD. So I am dual diagnosed, and I have a psychologist and a psychiatrist, and I had another kind of friend, more of a business colleague. He died of a heroin overdose about a month ago. So, this disease is alive and well, and it ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I know in my heart that if at this point, if I go back to drinking, or if I go back to using, I'm going to lose everything. It's a miracle that I've sustained and kind of that I've been able to build my life back up post the December situation happening. But I've never had this long clean and sober time, since I was 17.
Well, good for you, man.
Yeah.
Congrats on that.
Yeah, congrats.
And kudos to your wife, too.
She's
boy,
been very supportive.
The rock
It's
there,
been hard. It's been hard for her. She doesn't drink. She doesn't smoke pot. She may drink once a year with a friend, but she doesn't even care. But it's more of she doesn't want to drink around me.
Right.
She respects that, and
that's good. You need somebody in your life like that. Yeah.
And she has seen the worst in me. And it's interesting too, because I look back at past clips of me on the air and listening to any at radio air checks, and I'm like, holy shit, I look fucked up, because I was, compared to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
I've gained a lot of weight. I don't look complete. I was looking deathly at, So it's, but man, this shit is real, and there's nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
And I will say that I haven't come out of I call it come out of the AA closet.
Sure.
I haven't announced that really. Like I am doing with you guys here.
Thank you for the vulnerability.
And I also thought, God willing, I'll be celebrating 6 months, July 1st. So I have learned a little bit, about being clean and sober. So I thought this would be a good time to tell everybody, hey, I struggle too. If you struggle, that's okay. But there is help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's the thing we have to remember, and because all of us addicts fall into that shame cycle, and then the thing that silences the shame is our substance, or our, we've had gambling, sex addiction, whatever it is, bulimia,
Sure.
all these things. We just go
I'm
right
addicted
back
to energy drinks. But, hey, that's not as bad.
That's not right. We'll take that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Caffeine over Suboxone or
Right,
anything.
right.
If it helps, when we talked to Charlie Sheen and he was talking to us, he's like, oh, yeah, I can watch back 2.5 minutes. I was fucked up there.
I swear I was just going to say that. I remember him saying that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, he's that good of an actor? I couldn't tell.
Yeah. Well, and some of my friends, they've said like, oh, I couldn't tell you were high. And I was like, yeah, but I can.
You can. Yeah, because nobody knows you better than you do.
Right,
yeah.
right, yeah.
Oh, no, I know if I went back through archival stuff from my radio career that there's stuff where I was probably drinking just before I got on air.
Yeah.
Just before I got on.
Sure,
there.
yeah.
I didn't miss too many shifts. I missed a lot. When I missed them, it was the severe hangovers, and you're puking, and you literally cannot get in the car and drive. Because I was a binger. I couldn't do an all-day wake-up. Never had that ability. It was pound a bunch, go to sleep, kind of a thing. Or you're at a concert, pound a bunch, hopefully someone else is driving.
Right.
That pretty much.
Yeah.
But so we hit this point, we get into the program. What was that kind of, like you said, the breaking in the nose? That was the real final prompt? Was the missus just like, Austin, I'm done,
No.
let's go? Or
No.
none of it? No?
No. I mean, she's been wanting me to get help for years.
Sure.
And, but you cannot get help and become completely clean and sober unless you want it.
Yeah.
If somebody is forcing you to go and you're not ready, you're wasting your money. I mean, rehab was, oh man, it was something like $45,000 for a month. You know, it's just
Shit ain't cheap.
Yeah, it ain't cheap. So, you know, don't waste your money
And time.
and time,
You know what I mean?
and their
Yeah.
time, and so no, I was like, God damn it! I am 33 years old. I've got twin daughters. They just turned 5. They are my life, you know. And I love my career, and I'm gonna destroy my career eventually, you know. So, and then also just thinking about Bronson, I know that today he's looking down and he doesn't want me to be all fucked up all the time and lose this job and that job and kill this person because I'm drunk, you know. So I thought, all right, you know what? While yes, I want other people around my life to be treated better, but for me, do I want this for me? Do I want to stop drinking? Do I want to stop doing all these terrible things for my body and my mind? That was, you know, would Bronson want me to die next?
Yeah.
No. So, and then when I broke my nose and my daughters walked in, they didn't know what was wrong with me, you know? And I was just like, I don't want this life anymore. God damn it. I don't want to rely on alcohol right when I get home.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to take a pill to feel better. While I do take pills for my mental illness.
Sure.
That's different, you know, because it doesn't get me high.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm interested because this was more recent. And one of the things that, like when my dad went through his, I never did any rehab myself. It wasn't an option. I was the sole provider, and it was like, you know, kind of white knuckle it, fall off a little bit, white knuckle it, then finally, you know, really working the program. Was there anything post concerning the family, like for the missus and your daughters to kind of understand a little bit too, some of that post counseling?
Sure. So basically my daughters only know that some people shouldn't drink alcohol, and I am one of those people. And that Daddy, when I went to rehab for the month, we told the girls that Daddy needs to get help for himself. And so, you know, we tried to do it as you know, best to a 5-year-old.
Sure. Yeah.
But you know, I mean, my relationship with them, and it's always been good, but they knew there was something wrong with Daddy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on, like they're not dumb. So you know, I never drove drunk with them, or you know, I never put them in danger. But I was checked out. You know, if I was drinking at home, I was just kind of, you know, if I was stoned, you know, watch TV.
You were there, but you weren't there.
Exactly.
Kind of thing,
Yeah. And that's just not fair, you know. But again, but you have to, in this disease, it has to be about you. It can't be about anybody else.
Right.
And while you can think about other people, that's fine. But if you're not ready, then it, you know, I see so many people fail, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault. You know, you have to give up. You have to be like, all right, enough is enough, because it's no way of life. It's not, you know. I am just as happy today without drugs and alcohol than I was with drugs and alcohol. When you get that high point for the couple hours out of 24, I'm much happier, even because that's a fake high.
Yep.
It's all fake. It's all fake, and it wants you dead. And I hate this disease because it is the hardest thing to beat. It really is. And for me, it's every day. I can't you know, can I look in the camera right now and say I will never ever drink or use drugs again? No. All I can say is just for today, or give myself until midnight, because you can't set yourself up for failure. And that's why AA says, I'm wearing, I always wear these bands now. This says just for today, and then this says no matter what.
Nice.
My sponsor got me these.
Nice. Cool. Yeah.
And you're right. You're right. We had a great talk with this gentleman that's available now, Dr. Rob Kelly, and he really talked about the one day at a time and what that really is. And people, go, he said, it's not just the don't have the drink or the drug. It's to fill it with the joy that you were robbing yourself of prior. That what it is to be in the moment, be present, enjoy it, live it, to the fullest, and prepare it for the next day, rested, ready to go. And that's one of the things that, for me, brought a lot more power to my life. And like you said, I'm a lot happier now than when I was getting shit-assed hammered. And boy, I liked it way too much. Sure. And for anybody watching, we're not glamorizing it, because the truth is we all did use anyone that was abusing substances or an addict, because there was a feeling that was there, but it was falsehood. And like you said, it's a lifestyle that leads to how we're going to die, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And everyone sitting at this table talking right now has lost someone because of it.
Yep. It's a tragedy.
Now, you have been in broadcasting a long time, so there is some fun stories.
Oh, okay.
we gotta hear about some fun news reports, when you're doing radio guests that were on, or some things where shit just didn't go the way, It's like the lady that goes to do the report at SeaWorld and gets splashed by the killer whales.
Oh, man. All those ridiculous live shots I've done on snow coverage. Or,
Did you have some of those with the intermittent weather, like like downpour or the 200 degrees in New Mexico?
So here's the most absurd stories is when you get when in television news you get called out to go talk about the rain, like in LA. That whenever it rains in Los Angeles, that's the big story.
Weird. They've never seen it before.
Right. So. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
What is this?
What's rain? But I've had to go out in New Mexico whenever it snows. It's a big story. They do team coverage, or in Portland when it snows. It's a big stories. You go out there, you do 30 live shots, and every 10 minutes, and you have to hold up a thermometer. Now it's 31 degrees. We'll come back in 10 minutes. Did it drop down to 30, or did it increase? We'll tell you in just a bit. That's just absurd to me. I crack up.
Well, I can't change the channel now, because I gotta know.
Yes,
I gotta know. Carl, it may have dropped a degree.
Right.
What, Frank? It dropped a degree.
It's awesome. So absurd.
Oh, that's funny.
Like you guys have interviewed cool celebrities. Let's see. Gosh, so my current gig, Central Valley Talk, one of many shows that I host. But the cool thing about Central Valley Talk is, we can interview basically anybody, right? We like to give anybody a voice. So I'm not going to name names, but we bring people on that are very interesting.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
They are characters, and I love it because they'd probably never get on ABC 30, but they can come on Central Valley Talk, and we chat for 10 minutes, and but it's fun. But I love that because it's highlighting characters. There was a lot of characters in the Fresno Metro. So.
I can only imagine. Yeah. I mean, you welcomed us two idiots in, so
No, that was a good conversation.
Yeah, that's true. You do an amazing job.
Thank you.
So you got the Central Valley Talk and Read Report. I haven't seen any of the Read Report.
Okay.
Fill us a little bit in.
Yeah, the Read Report is every Friday at 8 a.m., and that's on KMSG TV, My 53. It used to be KAIL.
Yeah, right, okay.
So they just changed call letters. It's basically the same programming. So, and then And then it actually just got picked up by KWVT in Portland, Oregon.
That's got to be cool.
Excuse me, on Channel 17. Yeah, I like it because I grew up there.
Yeah.
So it's nice that. And the Read Report is kind of like a newsmakers type show, but, you know, I interview people that are, you know, I don't know, like I had Darius Assemi on from Granville Homes. I have a guy named Banana Joe. He comes on and talks about like Hollywood headlines and stuff. He was a big radio DJ in LA with Kiss FM and KHJ and K Earth, yeah. And then I do like kind of a monologue. I do headlines and here's what's happening from California to Oregon now. And then. So that's Friday, and then I've got the Austin Reed Network on Roku. So that is a new digital network that I've created that launched about a month and a half ago. So
cool.
Nice.
and it's going to have a variety of programming choices. So.
Yeah, I was curious. Does that have a news orientated type of?
It is, but it's not hard news. It's more, new. I call it news makers.
Yeah.
So
I dig it, man. Yeah. I know you mentioned before, like, oh, had I not fallen into substance abuse and where I could have been and stuff, but you seem like, fuck it, I'm happy. I like what I'm doing.
Yes, correct.
I love it.
Right. Yeah, yeah, and you know what? I'm at the end of the day, I'm happy that I went through that because I think it made me a stronger person.
Made you who you are today.
Made me who I am today, and I I've worked. I mean, you look at Charlie Sheen, right, and you think, God, how the hell did he make it so far? Because he was really messed up, and I've made it, I've worked at probably 25 different TV stations across the country, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, large markets, small markets, medium markets, but I was never there a long time because I'd always fuck up.
Right.
So, but you're right. It's experiences and, hopefully it'll make me a better dad.
I was just going to say, and the important thing is, too, is your daughters are seeing you happy and present and in the moment rather than just being there.
Exactly.
So, that's a plus as well.
Yeah. They, in the heart of my alcoholism, just, these, before December, I mean, I was just hiding in my room, and just I didn't want to have anything to do with anybody.
Right.
Yeah. So I was also grieving, from Bronson's death. But
I'm sure. Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought I needed alone time when he died, but I needed actually to talk to people.
Yeah.
And I think that's whenever something tragic happens in any of our lives. As hard as it is, and maybe as we think, well, I don't want to be a pain, and this person doesn't want to hear my problem, reach out. Reach out. Just say, look, I don't trust myself right now. I if I'm suicidal or if I'm super sad or I feel like I'm going to do something stupid, just tell somebody and just and somebody will be there for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk it out, cry it out. Whatever you have to do, because the alternative is going to substances.
Yeah, bearing that shit down's either going to take you back to substances or throw you into a depression,
right?
Something like that. So yeah, it's always best to get it off your chest.
Yeah, no, I can really. I was the isolation guy, absolutely.
Yep.
And it did the good justification. Okay, it's 9:00, kids are in bed. I can open that 6-pack.
Yep.
That ended up being an 18.
Yeah, exactly. And you've been thinking about that since 8:00 in the morning.
Yep, absolutely.
That's when you know you have a problem.
Yeah, and get that help.
Yeah.
Well, Austin, what we like to do is we're going to leave you with the final words of encouragement. But before that, more fun. We got some random questions for you.
Oh, okay, great.
Are you
I
ready?
like that. Okay, yeah.
Mikey, you're up.
When you're, for example, we talked on the way over here, you were stuck in traffic. So my question is, when you're stuck in traffic, what kind of shit goes through your mind? What are you thinking about?
Okay, well, if I'm going to an appointment, I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm going to be late.
Yeah.
So the first thing is I got to reach out to them, and you guys are super cool.
Hurry your ass, Austin.
like,
Get over here.
Don't come. Just don't, you know.
You know what? Forget
I'm
it.
10 minutes away. Turn the fuck around.
Right. Go drive back an hour south of Fresno, fuckhead. Let's see. But then I don't know. If I'm not like super freaking out trying to get somewhere, I'll just turn on the music, or I have my friend Michael come with me today, and we just I don't know what we talked about.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. So.
Speaking of music, if you were stuck on a deserted island, what one movie and one music album would you want with you?
Anchorman. An album. I would like. I'm a dork. I like 80s music, so if it could just be an 80s
Essential
soundtrack.
hits, huh?
Yeah. Best of the 80s. I'm good with that.
What particular you seem to be more of a pop genre person.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
What's maybe a guilty pleasure?
I love Pet Shop Boys, West End Girls, great song. And then, but I like 70s rock too, so like Eagles or I like rock and roll's greatest hits, but I also like disco too, which is random.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? I have a couple concerts I regret not going to.
Yeah.
Stones.
Oh yeah.
And the Bee Gees. I could have seen the fucking Bee Gees when they were all still alive. Damn. And I blew it.
I mean, Staying Alive is my favorite song in the entire world.
It's a brilliant song.
It's a great song. Yeah, it makes you feel good.
Cannot relate to either of you right now.
You're like, what
That's all right.
Yeah, either you like disco or you hate disco.
Yeah,
There's no in between.
Yeah, even Kiss did a disco song.
That's when I stopped liking Kiss. When they went Kisco is when I was over it.
Oh my God.
You weren't even born when that song
I was over
came
it when I heard it in the early 2000s. If they were to make a movie about you, who would you cast to play you?
God, that's a hard one. Steve Carell.
I love Steve
Right?
Carell.
Yeah.
I love
He
him.
can nail it.
I
see it.
You see it? Yeah.
I see it.
Okay.
I see it. Because, here's the difference between you and I as broadcasters. We're good at with radio, whereas I was just a guy that talks shit. Like, if you put me in anything serious, it was like, oh, forget it. This I'm good at.
Yeah,
This I'm good at.
exactly.
I'm just bagging on myself here. Let's see. All right. Guilty pleasure. We already talked about disco and music. Anything else outside of it?
Food, eating out.
Yeah.
Love eating out.
Like what? Italian, Mexican,
Vietnamese.
Vietnamese?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. Portland has a huge Vietnamese population and a bunch of pho restaurants. And
I was just going to say, what? Pho. Okay.
I grew up on. I mean, so that's my guilty pleasure.
That's what it
100%.
That is good.
Yeah.
What was the last song you listened to? I know we were talking about music, but let's keep it going. What was the last song that you played? Not that was just on the radio, that you put on.
Well, yeah, because I was using my phone as we were coming up. What was the last song? Lion Eyes by Eagles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was on
That's a
right
good
as
one.
we were coming down this street here.
That's a good one, yeah.
Good, that is a good song.
Last random question. This is one we've gotten a lot of interesting answers. If you could have dinner with just one person, living or not, who would it be and why?
God, it would be a news anchor. I'm sure you don't get a lot of that, huh?
But I loved news when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh,
yeah. You know what? Scott Pelley from CBS News.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm still pissed that they got rid of him on the evening news. Nora O'Donnell is fine, but Scott was great. He was just a great anchor, great storyteller, great voice, cool guy, very smart. Knew a lot about history, a lot about politics. So yeah, I would love to pick his brain.
Yeah. No, I was definitely, as a kid, I loved watching like Brian Gumble, Ted Koppel, was
Peter
another
Jennings.
one.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Peter Jennings with the hair and
That's right, yeah.
I'm Peter Jennings. And it's just like I was always enthralled with that. And for me, locally, where I grew up. I was born in Salinas, California. Dina Ruiz, Clint Eastwood's ex-wife, she was one of the anchors, and she was my favorite. And my mom did some travel agency work for her when I was little. And then I was working at this store that her and her, I believe it's her daughter with Clint, came into the place I was working. And I just I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, Dina Ruiz. And she was like, can I help you? I was like, well, you met me as a kid. Oh my gosh, you've grown so much. Can I get my vitamin C and go? Yes, ma'am. Sorry. You know.
That's awesome.
But she was gorgeous too, so that probably had a thing.
Right.
So.
I was so happy. So here's another random fact about me. I love news music.
Oh, really? Like that?
Yeah. And for years, ABC News, they got rid of that dun 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 dun. They got rid of it. Pissed me off. And I think it was about a year ago they brought it back. And I was like, yes, this is amazing. I was so happy. So I know, that's a rare thing that you're not going to get much.
You know what I think of when I think of news? You guys are talking about all these news anchors and stuff, which I, again, have no idea what the fuck is going on. But when I was a kid, it was TGIF. Every Friday night there were
ABC,
shows.
yeah.
What shows were, I don't even remember.
Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World, that's right. I loved Boy Meets
Great
World.
show, yeah.
Where I'm going with that is that Barbara Walters for 2020 would come on after that, and that's when I knew it was time for me to go to bed, because my parents would always make me go to bed after TGIF. So when you guys say news anchors, when I think of her, when I think of the news, I think of her, and then I think of my parents telling me to go to bed.
Whereas we probably two latchkey kids that watch whatever the hell we want, and him it's like, go to bed, and I'm like, this is Barbara Walters. And it's like, yes,
right.
Barbara's on.
Damn it, Barbara's on. I got to go to bed.
Damn.
Oh shit! Yeah, not everything was Anchorman. And you go fuck yourself, Sam.
Yeah. Anchorman 2 sucked.
It did suck.
Right? What the hell?
Sequels typically do, unless it's Toy Story.
Right? Yeah.
Except Toy Story.
Yeah, that's right. That was good. Yeah.
That's the 4 of them.
They're all great.
Well, we can't say all sequels, because Empire Strikes Back was better than Star Wars, but that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Austin, thanks for coming up, man, and hanging out with us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Any words of encouragement? Anyone that's out there struggling, maybe they have a loved one that is, do you just lend?
Hey, hit me up on Instagram, and I'll talk you through it, and I'll help you get the resources, or reach out. I highly suggest reaching out to you guys, and just asking for help. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. I was thinking, on my way up here, I was kind of like nervous, and yesterday in my AA meeting, I was talking about this, saying, I'm coming out of the closet, the AA closet, not that the other one. And but I'm happy I did this, because I thought, well, if I can help just one person, you guys help millions, we
hope
hopefully,
so,
and just, it's nothing to be embarrassed of. It's nothing to be ashamed about. Just tell somebody, hey, you know what? I'm struggling. This is why, what should I do? Get the help, because the life that will become if you don't get help, I guarantee you it's not going to be the life that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want more on Austin, check it out. It's all in the description there. You can click for his social media, more about everything he's doing. Austin Reed, thank you, good sir.
Thank you.